Simmi Areff joins us in studio.
He knows more than you can imagine.
Is President Barack Obama a Muslim?
Because you know it's going to be a zoo.
It was already a zoo.
Did anything happen while I was gone? Haven't you noticed the whole place is on fire?
Let me tell you why you're here.
But they can only speak in question.
Are there side effects? Or?
Just diarrhea.
My first guest is...
Simmi.
Knock, who's there, this guy?
Lesser known somebodies.
Welcome to Africa's 8th best podcast with me, Simmi Areff, and please don't laugh at my slogan, Loyiso Madinga. Please don't laugh at Africa's 8th best podcast. God,
I feel like it's also Africa's 8th podcast.
No, there's a lot of there's a lot of podcasts in Africa. In fact, you're actually counting too many. There's 5. I don't know what. Oh God. Okay, cool. It's Africa's 8th best podcast, lesser known somebodies, with me, Simmi Areff, and today I have the Tokoloshi of comedy. He's so short and funny. Please welcome Loyiso Madinga. Yay!
Are you gonna put sound effects in this?
No, I'm not. That's just how I do my thing.
So that was it. That was the intro.
Yeah. I mean, what were you expecting?
Sound effects.
No, this is not timber lunacy on the decks here. This is 2 microphones and 2 guys. There's as much as you're gonna get.
Let's do it. I guess it's pure. It's pureness. All we have is your mic.
Yeah.
And okay, cool.
Yeah, baby, I strip it down for you. I don't come here with bells and whistles. I come here just with the voice and the content.
With the real shit.
Yes.
With the real shit.
Now, if you guys don't know, Loyiso Madinga is a very successful stand-up comedian, as they say. He's won awards as comedians do these days, apparently. And he's very, very endearing. Like, if you looked at Loyiso Madinga, he has these scars on his cheek that just makes you go, wow, you've lived life.
And I got them when I was 2 years old.
Yeah, so you've lived. I mean, at 2, you're already like, I'm going to take this thing, I'm going to cut myself up and have these scars. The first time I ever remember seeing Loyiso Madinga was, I think it was the Nando's Comedy Festival. And you were on stage, and I was just like, wow, this guy is so good at doing hack stuff. He's going to go far. And you have gone far. You've won awards.
But you know, actually looking back at that stuff, it was basic.
Yeah.
Hack is such a mean word.
No,
bro.
but that's what, if someone had to say something used to do hack material, I'd be like, yeah, 100%.
No. I think hack is something you got to attribute to somebody who knows better.
Yeah. I know better now.
I didn't know better then.
Of course you didn't. You just started.
Exactly. So it was basic shit. Everyone pretty much sounds the same when you start because it's surface. It's that stuff you've been laughing with your friends with, and then like CK says, you got to just keep digging. Keep digging deeper.
Well, at that time, I thought at least 95% of the industry sounded exactly like Trevor. Like verbatim.
Trevor.
Yeah, they sounded exactly like the same formula. Everybody sounded. It's just like all these new guys that are coming up, like had watched 3 of the DVDs out and were like, yeah, this thing is possible.
In fact, I think at that point I'd seen Daywalker. Maybe even half an hour of Daywalker. I hadn't seen the whole thing.
Half an hour.
And I didn't like it.
Half an hour is enough subconsciously to make you go, I can do this. You see, the thing is because when you start stand up, you know that you're on the microphone and you have to speak.
Yes.
And you don't know how to speak, so whatever your conscience collects of seeing people speak on microphones, you kind of do.
Yes.
It's a natural subconscious thing.
Yes.
No one really gets into the microphone and automatically knows how they're going to do their thing.
But that's a thing that it's the weirdest well, it's like any art form, I guess. It's like that Miles Davis quote where he goes, you got to play a really long time to sound like yourself.
Yeah.
To play like yourself. So at first you're just doing the thing. You're just doing the laugh, make people laugh. And then after a while you realize, no, I have to say something. Yeah. I have to honestly get up there and tell people I've thought about killing my mother.
For me, the thing is that we only find that, I know some people use the cliche of like the voice, I hate finding my voice. You actually only really learn how to speak once you've collected enough experiences, and then you're also very much more, you don't give a shit about all the other stuff. So first of all, you don't give a shit about who else is going to come into the lineup and kill harder.
Yes.
You don't give a shit about who's doing so much better than you at the moment. You just care about you are. And you actually only realize and get to that point much later. You never get to that point earlier. The earlier you get to the point, the more you become you quicker.
Yes.
But some guys, like for myself, only recently have I gone, yo, man, I just want to do the things that I do.
Yes, I've got something to say.
Yes.
It's Kibuka said that to me. When I was talking about I think I was talking to him about I need to get back to being ready to get on stage, like having my material, like put together and my set put together before I get on, because I had started just jumping on.
Yeah.
And he said, no, there's only one type of comedian who's ready to get on stage, and that's a comedian who has something to say. And it's when you have actually something to say, because then you'll say it on stage first, and then you'll go, oh, that's what I wanted to say. And the more you say it, then you start figuring out, like, this is how I'm going to structure it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's about stop. You actually, at first I think you're censoring yourself, because you don't realize that people actually want to hear you. People they don't know it. Crowds don't actually know that they want to hear you. They obviously just want to laugh.
Yeah.
But it's when you really just come out as, this is how I see the world. It could be fucked up, but this is just how I view it. And people are like, I'll appreciate that because it's different from the next guy. That's how comics are different. Yeah.
I also think there's a big uniqueness. Like, I find like someone could be, like, I find so many people way more hilarious than I am.
Yes.
But you know where I beat most of the guys? Just being absolutely unique. Like, I don't think you'll find another Muslim kid who's doing comedy like how I do. And that's what I feel where the uniqueness, where the interest comes in, because maybe I'll be on a lineup and I won't be the funniest guy, but people go like, yo, that was so interesting to watch.
Yes. No.
And that's why I enjoy it.
Exactly. There are those guys, like, we all sit on YouTube and just scroll through 3, 4, 5 minute clips of people that we've never seen, just to see what they're about.
Yeah.
And you might laugh. You might find someone hilarious, but as soon as you click on the next link, you've forgotten everything they've said.
Everything.
Because they really didn't bring anything new to it. And sometimes you were the most interesting person on the night.
Yeah.
You weren't the guy who made people fall on the floor. But people are going, but I want to see that other guy.
But for me, that's where South African comedy is moving. But before we get there, do you remember the first time we met, or you saw me, and what were you thinking? Because I asked every person that comes into this podcast this question.
I don't remember much about the early days.
What did you suffer from fucking amnesia?
No, I have a really bad memory. It's like
so you don't ever remember seeing me? Or like meeting me? Or
I mean, like your early comedy?
Not watching my comedy. I'm like talking about the first time we met as human beings.
Yeah, you gave me shit.
What did I tell you?
You always just give me constant shit, bruh.
Yeah, that's my life.
No, I just remember, and I was just like, oh, well, it's just Simmi.
Where was it? What did you think? What did you think? Like,
it was actually Kitchener's days.
Yeah.
It was early Kitchener's days. Actually, you didn't give me shit.
There we go. I'd like you apologize on Africa's 8th best podcast now. I'm just trying to dispel the myth that I give everybody shit and I come across as the nicest cunt.
You actually, what you said is, what I enjoy watching about you is you're different to the other black comedians. Racist.
Thank you.
Said you're not shouting, you're just cool and you just deliver your stuff and you trust your material. That was the thing. That was the first thing.
Is that what I said?
That's what you said.
I think you are drunk.
No, that's what you said to me. And then
being nice.
And then you gently touched my cheek with the back of your palm.
That is definitely me. That is definitely me. When it comes to touching of people's cheeks, I am there. I see a cheek and I'm just like, ooh, I want to squeeze that thing. Because let me put this through to you like this. I feel comedy is definitely moving in another sphere now in South Africa, because you've got to understand it's a very new industry for us still.
It is still very
We
new.
don't understand this industry at all. And that's why we see people being, I like to call them plain out frauds.
Yes.
It's like when you put on a big show and you comp out a fuckload.
Yes.
Fraud. It's like all your Instagram posts telling me about you can't wait to do this show, but you got no fans. You're a fraud to me. Absolute fraud. And I see it more and more. Guys that book guys and then they don't. They book them. We get all these big lineups, but they are comedians themselves, but they're not on their big lineup.
Yes.
They're not like, you're a fraud. We have now realized that you have become a fraud.
Look, as long as you just bring the work. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do. Just bring the work. Like, you have to be. I'm just here to watch you do your comedy. It's like, I don't understand comedy troops.
What do you mean by comedy
like
troops?
People who travel in these groups of comedians.
Oh, you clicks. You mean the clicks.
Comedy
yeah,
clicks.
But they're there,
like,
and you'll never get rid of them.
Because at the end of the day, comedy, you're on your own on the stage, no matter what your clique is. So, in your clique, you don't, because you can see how cliques also sound the same.
Yes. Yes, but you must. The thing with cliques, because you get people that do like lots of ensemble shows together, like we're on one with
I can understand
Eugene and
that.
stuff. But the thing is, every person in that clique or ensemble must be able to be by themselves if that thing had to fall apart today.
Yeah.
But this is what I was trying to get to. Is just like I feel like the reason why South African comedy and people move so quickly in South African comedy, like they fly through it, almost like their rise is so big so quickly, is because they've analyzed and found that the two main things that really connect comedians and the audience immediately are race and politics.
Yes.
Those two things, if you're very good at them, you go quickly.
Yes.
Which slowly changes when other comedians start realizing that they can't, like I'm incapable of doing race and political comedy. So you start realizing, how do I make my stuff sound otherwise almost?
Yes.
And so you don't get these huge laughs, but there's something there, which means that something there-ness will eventually grow. So I look at guys from overseas like Ronnie Cheng and Ansari and Hannibal, and they absolutely destroy in their crowds. To the point, the best example I can give is Hannibal came down over here doing Hannibal stuff for the Comedy Central Festival and died.
Yeah.
And died. He even said he died. He went into Trevor's Daily Show and he said, I died down in Africa. Because there were no Hannibal people there. There were no people at that audience, at that comedy level going, yes, I understand exactly what you're doing.
Southern comedy is both the easiest and the hardest. In that, yes, politics and race is a formula that works. It just does. I hate that it works so well sometimes because it allows for hacks to flourish.
Yeah.
Because I literally listen to people whose whole sets are, us black people.
Yeah.
And they'll do 15, 20 minutes on us black people. And then they just go on to lie most of the time. But at the same time, race, our country is so segregated historically, and because of historically so segregated to this day that our only common experiences is race and politics. And no, not to close everything else.
I'm shaking my head while you say that. The only reason why I say that is because we as individuals don't look at that. So we can't say that we are above the audience. Surely there are people our age, younger than us, older than us, that also feel the same way than us, but don't have this access to comedy that others do.
Yeah, it's a generational thing. But you got to understand, when you get into a crowd, a lot of the times it's a little higher than our generation and stuff for that broad appeal. Those are the topics that tend to get the most love. Sure. But
I'm saying the reason why that is, and like if you look at different comedy markets, if you look at South Africans compared to the English, for example, I've watched many stand-up shows in England where the guy says, "What do you do, sir?" and the guy's like, "I'm a plumber." Here, you don't find plumbers watching gigs. Here, it's a very higher LSM. It's your people who
access to gigs is limited. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go do like a big theater show, like a Nation Wild and stuff, the people that you there are working people. Like maybe they are probably doctors, lawyers, accountants, managers. Very few of them are
blue
guys.
Collar.
Yeah, very few of them are guys that are like, "Hey, I'm struggling to make a buck." It's very rare to go see, I don't know, a fucking electrician at a comedy show.
But the industry is small, though.
That's what I'm saying. It's growing.
It is definitely going. It's infantile.
Yes.
It's just starting. And I know people say no, but it's been going on since the days of Cow and then the white people before. But in terms of it being an industry and not this, can you imagine an entire industry being 8-10 people? That's ridiculous. It's an industry.
Ridiculous.
And at the same time, we all know what it takes to really create that comedy. And it's about creating so many gigs that a comic can work that much to create a really great product. And those gigs are only coming up now.
The biggest problem that I feel, one of the problems, because it's all amalgamated really, is that we are living in two different parallel worlds when you want to do comedy. So I've got this thing now that I just branded as Braamfontein comedy. It's literally, so you Bannister, Kitchener's Bannister, Poppies. It's all Braamfontein type of style comedy. So it's like you could kill there. You can murder so hard at a Kitchener's or Poppies or Bannister. Unbelievable murder. But then you go to your own theater show that you put on and the gag doesn't work because the people that you've been murdering to have now conditioned you to only do that style of comedy.
Yes.
How many times have you been to Kitchener's and seen a Kumbula Kaya joke?
This got very specific.
But I'm just saying that because they knew that that's what the crowd laughs at. So then you get to a point where then you go perform in Edenvale or Parkers.
Well, that's the thing.
You do it around a Parkers and Kumbula Kaya, and people are like,
yeah,
I'm
but
sorry.
That's just general intelligence in terms of understanding where you're at.
You say it's
and
general
also
intelligence.
it comes down to that. If you're gonna say I'm gonna work hard at this,
yeah,
right. As soon as you say that, you're forcing yourself to go into places where people aren't gonna always
on your level,
yes. Right? Which then makes you can do the same joke. You can grow your joke into a broader sphere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not like Kumbula Kai is wrong, but if you're gigging hard, you can go, I can't just do it this way, where the people are literally looking at their clocks in my gig going, yes, but when you finish here, I'm going home to watch Kumbula Kai.
Yeah.
Right? So when you start gigging now in Krugersdorp and whatever, you go, okay, I need to tell this joke in this way to bring in more people.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, it's like with any art form, it's not about the what. The what, everyone's doing the same what.
Yeah.
It's about the how.
Yeah.
Right? That's what really makes you different. It's how you do it. So for me, it's like it always goes back to as soon as you go, I'm going to work hard. In this country especially, because in the States, you can still find your crowd everywhere you go.
Everywhere you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's big enough for you to do that. Whereas here, as soon as you go, I'm going to work hard, you're putting yourself into some situations. You're going to go, all right, now I've got a bunch of Afrikaans people, conservative,
also here,
small
working
town.
hard is once you've done, you can only do so many gigs here. We don't.
Yes.
It's not like every single day there's a different gig. There isn't.
There
in
isn't.
a week, you can tell. We can name the gigs and
Yes.
be done in a breath.
Yes.
So I feel like that concept of working hard, which we'll speak about now, because
Yeah.
I find that you are one of the hardest workers that I've seen. At least you show it on Instagram.
I'm pretty blazing and lying about
Yes,
that shit.
yeah, everybody is. I'll tell you a funny story about it afterwards. My thing is just like, I feel that our country's comedy scene, not everybody else's comedy scene, is that not enough people know about it. So when people say, hey, I'm just going to get a comedian for a corporate, they just get a comedian for a corporate. Also, we've made the system where corporates are our bread and butter.
Yep.
We cannot make money to support our lifestyle via a club gig. And the most blazing club gig, Kitchener's, doesn't pay you to.
No.
You literally go there for a good time, which is, I mean, that's cool. And the thing for me is that, like, I feel like that's where the system, the forefathers who made the system, went entirely wrong.
Yes.
So now we've landed up, and I'm like, I don't hold it against them. I'm just like, everybody needs to eat. So we've worked out the system now, like, where we do corporate comedy, and you have to be good enough to do corporate comedy, and then other guys only do club comedy. And then you take the next step and you become a corporate comedian, which is fine. I mean, if that's what you want to do. Personally, for me, when I started comedy, the word corporate was never in the dream. It was like, I wanted to be a stand-up comedian.
Yes.
At no point did I say I want to be a stand-up comedian who makes my living from corporates.
Yes.
At no point did it say that I want to be a stand-up comedian who only wants to do clubs. I just said I want to be a stand-up comedian. But now we've got to a point where there are more corporates paying your lifestyle than the proper theater moments, the proper club moments.
And I don't think it's about demonizing corporate at all. I think comics forget that once you've got a skill of some sort, you got to figure out the business of your skill.
Yeah.
And we've got corporate. Cool. It's a thing. It's out there. Corporates know that comedians can MC a gig or come in and do or whatever. Cool. That's lucky for us because then you can go, I'm going to corporate for the next 3 months or whatever it is so I can afford my theater gig.
Yes.
But people aren't thinking that way. You see a lot of guys is going, I'm going to corporate so I can live baller.
Yes, that's exactly
as
it.
if that's the point.
Because I'm
it's
not saying
the point.
don't do a corporate.
Yeah.
I'm saying do a corporate that matches with you and gives you enough capital to do whatever else you want to do.
The
so like
actual stuff that
I've done corporates and those corporates have paid for one-man shows.
Yes.
But now after I do the one-man show, I'm just like, I need to do this thing again. So I take the money from the one-man show and I pump it into the next one-man show.
Yeah.
And so then I start, if you take 10 comedians and all 10 comedians start doing one-man shows, that means we start touring 10 different shows. That means you can go to one of the 9 provinces, find a theater and do it. But
that for me is what we should be doing.
We should be doing.
That's currently my
biggest gripe.
Our gripe about, now we've got the second awards system coming up, right?
I don't believe we should have First of all, I don't believe we should have a second awards. I also don't believe we should have a first award.
Yes, and not that we don't deserve or whatever. I don't think that's where the growth is.
Yes, but financially it doesn't make sense for me. You can't tell me that we must have awards shows when the majority of our industry don't eat off comedy.
Yes,
they don't earn off comedy. So
but not even
millions.
that. We can't have an award system when there's maximum 5 one-man shows a year.
Exactly.
It's like because that means then we're technically awarding club comics, which is not the point.
It's not the point.
It's like Usain Bolt doesn't win from practice.
Yeah.
That's what clubs are.
Yes,
clubs are practice. He doesn't get a golden medal for today. He broke the record in practice. It doesn't count.
Yes.
He has to go and do it on the day, and that's a one-man show.
If I look at it, and like I don't like comedy awards because I feel like it already makes a competitive industry more competitive, which is weird because when I went overseas, none of the guys there are as competitive as we are. We are so competitive to the point where it's not enjoyable. Like now I'm going through a phase where I don't go to club gigs purely because it's not enjoyable anymore. I feel like I'm fighting with my friends. I'm competing against them. It's like, it's not a fucking competition. It's meant to be fun. This stand-up thing is meant to be fun. As soon as we brought the first awards in, and now from the second ones, we take the fun away.
Yeah.
And also we start going, why do we have these awards? That's my biggest question is why. And they tell us, it's to acknowledge our peers' works. I can acknowledge my peers' work by saying, hey, Loy, you fucking killed on that stage tonight. Exactly. Well done, man. But now we have these awards, and I'm not taking, I know you've won. I'm saying that here's my thing is that now we have these awards for a very small industry. And what happens in this now is that we start saying, okay, fine, here are these awards, and we are recognizing these people. But then I look at like other industries and I go, they don't have awards. I mean, there's some, like there's a Canadian Comedy Awards, the American Comedy Awards have been postponed because like I've never seen Chappelle jump up on stage and say thanks for this American Comedy Award. I've never seen Chris Rock. I've never seen Kevin Hart. So you're telling me, why do we need this?
The reward is so much, it's so different here. I mean, different in comedy. The reward is not, I don't know. And yes, I won an award. Let me put it this way. It comes nowhere near the actual doing.
Of course.
It does. I can name club gigs where there were 7 people where I'm like, if I could win an award or do that again, I'll do that again
of course.
Every time. So, and then the spin-off of it, and I know these things take time to get to get the momentum so people believe in them and it grows a certain appeal to them, and people understand what the Oscars and stuff that are, what they carry, the weight with which they carry. But you can't start it off. It goes back to that thing of we can't be awarding club comics, which is what I was. I'm getting an award for killing in clubs. So that's what this award means. So when somebody who wins for putting on a one-man, putting in the work that it takes to do a one-man, is now in the same league as this guy who's doing 5-7 minutes. What does that one-man award mean? Now I'm in the newspaper.
Like award-winning.
If you're in clubs, no one knows you.
Yeah.
Like,
no one knows you.
You can't be performing at 20 people at a time.
Yeah.
And think that you're going to be in the newspaper now getting a feature, and people are like, oh, look, he won. It's like, who the hell is that guy? And that's what I felt. I realized that in the real world, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Sure, it's great to get an acknowledgement from your peers, but at the same time, it's also like it's a taste thing. I'm going to vote for my friends.
It is.
Not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way.
Because you really dig your friends' comedy.
Yeah.
Because comics is one of those things, comics aren't friends with each other until we see each other on stage. Like if you go, hey, here's my friend who's a comic, we're not going to be friends because we're comics. But if I see you on stage and I'm like, I like this guy's work, we'll probably be friends if we have a mutual respect for it. So that's what it really means. But I get that when I get off stage anyway, and the guys in the back go, I did what you did, man.
I'm probably the most bitter person when it comes to awards, because I'm sure when people hear this, they must think, wow, this guy is so bitter. He's never won an award. Yeah. But I'm also at the same time very intelligent. And here's the thing that kills me. How many millions of rands are thrown in by sponsors for these awards? There must be millions upon millions. They always tell us, oh, you know how much exposure you're going to get from coming to these awards? I'll tell you, zero. I've never gotten a fucking gig from being at any of the awards.
I've never gotten a gig from winning the award.
So you're telling me about this exposure that doesn't exist, but also at the same time, all that money, and only how many? Maybe 20 comedians earn a good enough living in this country, while the other 80 of us are scrambling or put this hustling thing in. You know, it's like, oh, it's your hustle. You have to pay your dues. No, man, I want to eat.
Yeah.
I want to eat. Why don't you take some of that money and we invest it? You know what the biggest surprising thing for me was? That Comedy Central Festival, end of December, the public got to see 60 comedians. Not just Jeff Ross and Hannibal.
But that for me goes back to awards versus the work, because last year we had 2 festivals.
Yes.
Right? And they both worked.
Yes.
Why? Because it's about the work.
Yes.
And it's about growing.
Yes.
So all of a sudden you saw 60 at the one festival. There were
14 at the other. I'm playing. It's like, there's 20 odd, I think.
It was about 30-something comics. Yeah. That's 90 comics doing a festival because it's about the work. I don't care about your award. It doesn't make me laugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just shows where it's most important. We had 2 festivals festivals
November,
for the first
December,
time that both worked
Yeah.
within 2 months.
Yes.
Within a month of each other.
And that's
where the
fantastic.
proof was.
Yes.
Because people can say, this is what I got out of that.
Yes. And I'm saying that the investment, oh man, the investment has to be more than acknowledging how good they are at comedy. That's my feeling to it. And just like, people don't understand people's stories. Like, people don't understand your story. I mean, you didn't start off, like I tell people, I've only had one job and I've got stuff from doing this job. I only have ever been a comedian and I got into radio via being a comedian. I have no other skill set other than the skill sets that have taught me in my degrees that I don't practice.
Yeah.
So I don't have another skill set. So I had to say, Loyiso Madinga, you didn't start out as a comedian. You started out as something else.
Yeah, I started off as a advertising guy. It's weird. Like, Tats and I went to the same school. I always tell the story. And
tell us then. I've never heard the story, so you've never always told the story.
We went to the same advertising college, right?
What was it called? AAA.
AAA, yeah. And we didn't know each other at the point. And some random guy who I'd never spoken to before comes up to me randomly and just goes, "So you think you're funny?" I was like, "What?" "Yeah, I've heard you making jokes and stuff in the corridors. Let's have a funny off. You prepare some 5 minutes, I'll prepare 5 minutes of funny, and then we'll get some people together and we'll do comedy." So I was like, this is weird, but it sounded like fun. I've always wanted to kind of do comedy.
What the hell is a funny off?
A funny off, bro. You wanted to have a funny off.
That sounds like, and what a thug to just come up to you,
dude,
like that.
It was just like, what?
And be like, "Yo, man, I heard you making the rest of the class laugh."
It was like, woo!
He was like, "You got to stop making the rest of the class laugh. That's my gig.
That's my turf.
That's my gig." And to stop you, we're going to have this funny off. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think it's called a funny off.
He wasn't even in my class. This guy is literally...
Oh, you heard you laughing in the playground.
Corridors, dog.
Wow.
Like, literally just like talking to my friends.
Going between lectures.
He's upset about me making funnies with my friends.
Yo, man, that Loyiso Madinga guy's making people laugh.
He's going down.
It's going down now. But it's only 3 people. There's 3
Those
too
are
many.
my people.
Those are my people. I make the people laugh with the advertising.
So this guy does this, and then so we prepare 5 minutes, and the Friday after that we get people in a lecture room, and we do our thing. And I had so much fun, dude. Like I did like a 5, and it was a solid 5. And people laughed where I planned them to laugh. He died on his ass.
Of course, when anybody comes up to you with a funny off, that person's gonna die. I've watched this movie so many times in my life.
He died at funny off.
The funny off.
And so we wanted to do it again, and I bumped into Tats in the corridors, and I was like, "Dog, please come watch our show." And Tats was like, "No, I don't want to watch. I want to be in it." So I was like, "Fucking more than merrier."
Was Tats even doing comedy at this time?
No, he wasn't.
Oh wow, you guys are
comedy at the time, dude. He wasn't even.
This was another gig I'd never heard of.
So we organized the next week, and Tats jumped on. Another friend of Lwazi jumped on, and Lebu, the guy who funnied off. And it was a gig, was a thing. And I was like, man, I really dig this comedy thing, right?
Aren't those the best moments? Because I can tell you, when I was at varsity, right, comedy wasn't a thing. And they used to have a poetry during our lunch session on a Thursday, a poetry thing. And I used to beg them, please, can I do 5 minutes? And one day I did 5, and it was, to this day, one of the best feelings ever, because it was just fun. And you're just like,
'cause it was just fun,
it was just
man.
fun.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And then
Yeah.
it got to a point where it was so fun. They're like, yo, could you host it for us? And so every Thursday in a lecture hall of students of my age, laughing at my things was the best
Dude.
thing. And that's one of the main reasons why you want to do it.
And that's the dragon you chase for a long time.
Oh, forever.
That's that first hit of heroin that you want forever.
So you did that and then you stopped doing comedy.
And then I went to the underground.
Dope.
I went to the underground. I'm like, let me go check it out. Maybe I'll talk to Rismus afterwards about possibly. So I went there, I watched. And that night, I remember this guy, I can't remember who he was, but I remember he was like in his 30s. Mm-hmm. And he did this set. It was an open spot or something. And
describe him to me and I could tell him who he is.
Just a white guy, man.
White guy with a cap.
No,
very rich man. Wore shorts.
No.
Okay, then I don't know this white guy.
I don't think. Let me tell you the story. And I don't think he ever did it again.
Oh wow.
He did his set. About 3 minutes into his set, he's bombing. He's bombing like a mother. 3 minutes into his set, he starts crying, but he continues while crying and finishes his set like literally. And then mom wants in.
That is the best.
And in that moment, I was like, comedy is real, yo. Like
I've seen some fantastic
it's all
things.
good being all like, I want to have fun. And I think I got scared in that moment. I was like, you know what, Loyiso? Let the people who are comedian do it. Yeah, let them just do their thing.
Oh, that room used to provide people. You know Couch Ninja?
Yeah.
Couch still had one of my best gigs I've ever seen. I still laugh
At the
about it
underground?
to this day. Yeah. And listen, there are no laughs. Couch will tell you that there's no laughs.
Yes.
What happened? He had a stool on the stage and he had a cricket bat and he opens up and he says, my therapist says I need to take these, takes these pills out and just chucks them at the audience. And already no one's laughing. But you know me at a gig when someone dies. So I was like, hey, we are in for it here. No one's laughing.
That was possibly the worst laugh I could ever hear at a show. Literally.
The thing is, because I laugh, but like I still joke with you afterwards.
Yours and
I'll probably
pop-ups.
die directly afterwards as well. But like the thing is, so Couch takes this dildo, he puts it on the stool, right? On the dildo on the side it says, "Judge this." Takes his cricket bat, hits it, bang, walks off the stage. Not a fucking person knew what was going on. What? Not a person. To the point where Couch got off the stage, right? He went to come sit in the audience and people moved sideways. So he was by himself in a row. It was hilarious. So you took a break. You took a bit of a sabbatical.
I just did advertising. And from day one in advertising, I was like, this is not the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I was just like, this can't be.
Yeah.
Like, I imagined the best case scenario. I said to myself, so you get to the top, you won awards, you run your own agency, it wins awards, it's one of the top ones. Are you happy at 50? And I was like, no, I'm miserable at 50. And then 2009, I quit my job, went on sabbatical, went traveling and shit, came back, ended up in advertising again. I was like, still, I gotta get out. Got out. I'd met Don.
Mm-hmm.
He
had started comedy.
He had started comedy. I went to his gigs to take photos, and I was like, "Fuck it, give me 5." He said, "Next month you get 5." I jumped on, and before I even said the first joke, when I got on, I was just like, "This is it." Like, so it wasn't about the laughs. It wasn't about, "Ooh, I want that feeling of laughter." I got on stage, and I was like, "This is the most right feeling I've ever had in my life."
Yeah, it feels nice.
This morning, I was just watching. I was watching Carmichael, and what I love about Carmichael,
nice and slow, eh?
Yeah, it's like even in his one man, it feels like he's just working his material, as in like he's just feeling it out too.
How much stand up do you watch, like stand up wise?
I don't know
I watch a lot. Like I watch like everything on Netflix. I'll watch things on YouTube. I'll watch a lot of stand up.
I don't watch a lot. My attention span more than anything. So I watch a lot of like short clips.
Mm-hmm.
So I watch a lot of 5 to 10 minute sets.
Yeah.
That's what I want. So I can do that for hours, but I can't. But one man shows, I really have to be. I'm like an audience member when I watch your one man for. So I'm committed to you. I want to hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So not many comics I'm willing to. Like I can listen to Amy Schumer for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I'm done.
And then I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
But I can always listen to an hour of Bill Burr. But anyway, yeah. So I guess I do watch a lot.
I want to talk about this thing that I see you on social media all the time doing, where you like, oh, hashtag hard work, no one cares. Hashtag working hard, living a living life. Hashtag so busy.
Do you know what? I think the most important hashtag that I put on is the nobody cares work harder.
Yes.
It's to
What does
me
that
and
mean?
everybody else.
What does that mean? I don't get it.
Because it's about the work at the end of the day. Like nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
Like no, like you, BMW doesn't tell you working on new Triptronic. They give you the Triptronic.
Yeah.
When they finally
I get you. When people like, my favorite one is that when I see like an odd comedian somewhere in this country, they just take a picture of a pen and a pad and they put like working on big things. But then we never see the big things.
Exactly. And also I think, sorry, you just touched on, we've had this conversation. I just want to put a chest so more people can hear it.
Yeah.
We need to stop putting one-man shows on a pedestal. Just do a show.
Yeah.
Like there are guys who haven't done a show there's a comic, I won't say his name, who hasn't done a show in a decade. And apparently he says that he hasn't found his voice yet, so he doesn't want to just put out a show for us. But we're in the business of shows. Put out shows until the shows get to the point where the shows, it's not like you only have one show in your life. You're a comic. You're going to be a comic until your last breath. So just keep putting out shows, and maybe one day, like CK's been doing shows.
Yeah.
And only now do we totally get him and
go crazy for CK.
Exactly. But he had to keep putting out shows because that's the point of it all.
Yes. That's exactly what we all want to do.
Finish line. And then you get to start all over again afterwards. So you have to start putting in shows. And that's what our industry actually needs, because people need to be able to go on any given day. You know what? I feel like watching a comedy hour. Not just a comedy bar show or whatever. People need to go, man, this weekend I got Friday night I'm free. Go online and find somebody's hour.
Yes.
And that's how we're going to grow the industry.
Or just if you see more guys doing hours, you'll stop going to club gigs and you'll start attending guys' hours.
Yes. And then selling hours won't be so hard.
You'll see every theater will be full of us.
They're not
every
these
week.
mythical things. You can put an hour together, guys.
They're not mythical things. And especially when you find your market.
And I'm not saying that like on some guru level. That was what I thought too. Until I by mistake did 50 minutes without trying. Then I was like, but this hour thing isn't this.
It's not impossible. It's not something
impossible.
You can't do. And it's not something, you can't tell me that you can't fill up a theater. If you do enough marketing, if your comedy is good enough that you can't fill up a theater and give your fans that have come to watch you that hour that you do.
And not even just fans. Because the fan thing also inhibits people from actually doing a show, because we think, I don't have enough followers to think. And it's like, your followers, chances are they're not going to come to that show. It's people who are looking for a night out of theater, because we're in the theater space and we forget it as comics. Because sometimes you just go, I feel like going to watch theater, then you go online to go look what's on, you read a blurb and you go. You're not going, ooh, look, it's Kani again. Let's go to Kani because he's doing it. It's like, no, there's a small show.
Let's go.
It's in a 50-room seat. Let's go because I want to see a show. So people who are just looking to see something. They want to come to a show, not necessarily your show, but because your show is on, they're willing to come, and you can actually make fans at your one-man show.
My thing recently is just to build a theater culture. That's why you've heard me say, I refuse to go take my gig to pop art because my fans don't go to pop art, but I will take my one man to a theater because I know my guys like a theater. I like a theater.
Yeah.
I like a theater with there's sound and lights. I'm not saying there's anything bad about pop art, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Some people actually just need to go to a theater and put it on in a theater. I don't want to go perform in a casino. Unless the casino has the most baller theater. Yes. Then I will go. I will do a theater. If someone says, hey, come to Pretoria, I'll be like, cool, what theaters are in Pretoria? I'll come to you. If someone says, come to PE, I will come to you.
Yeah. The thing about a one-man show that makes a one-man show for me is it's not like I watch some guys, and what makes a really good, memorable one-man show, right? Mm-hmm. Like the ones. We all know the ones, right? Mm-hmm. Is there not a collection of, it's not a hit list.
Yeah.
It's not the guy's my best gags.
Yeah.
It's the most important thing is if you actually watch a one-man show, it's a collection of maybe 10 minutes at the least to 20-minute gags.
Yeah.
Because it's an idea that fully formed in some way.
I feel like there's a theme also in a one-man.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So it's about, you actually get to, the best one-mans are probably technically 4 gags long.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's 15 minutes of one thing, then 15 minutes of the next thing, and 15 minutes of the next thing. It's not just a collection of, Unless you're a one-liner guy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for those bigger,
I like it when one-mans almost have themes, because then like, if I do, like, I love Ansari, I love Aziz, and every single time I watch Aziz is like his new hour is about a totally different hour topic.
Do you know what I didn't like Aziz? I didn't understand him. That's what I realized. I thought I just didn't
English
like
is
him.
your second language, right?
Shut up.
It's understandable.
My American English is.
If you go to audio, you put
best.
subtitles and it come up pure Xhosa for you.
So I didn't until I watched his TV show,
Master of None.
Yeah.
What a
and
show.
then I got him. And then I went back to watch his comedy, and I like his comedy because I get him now.
Yeah.
It was a weirdest process of watching someone.
Let's talk about one more thing that you mentioned in WhatsApp earlier on. You said people got to ride the wave now before it dies down. Now explain what this wave is and how we ride it and how it and what do you mean by it dying?
Bin waves. It's almost like.
Explain it to me like I'm not a comedian, because I know what you mean.
Yes.
But I want to see if we're on the same level.
Pure Munati was a wave.
Okay.
The time leading up to it and the time after that. Because between Pure Munati and Trevor going big, there was almost no comedy.
Yeah.
You can honestly say there was pretty much, in terms of perspective from the people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people weren't talking about South African stand-up comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone that you knew was from that wave.
Yeah.
Of Pure Monati guys and that time. Whether they were involved in Pure Monati or not, the people made their names during that time and then died out. And then Trevor blew up. And then that's when now you have a new group of people who are making their names now. It's gonna die out. It has to.
I feel like we're there.
It's like hip hop.
Yeah.
It's like any art form.
I told you in WhatsApp, I feel like we are at that point now.
I feel like it's not dead it's not dead, but it's like the door is closed in terms of who's entering the wave.
Yeah.
Now it's about producing the work to make that wave a thing.
My feeling,
that's why the one man thing is so important.
Here's my feeling on it. I just feel that because there's now so many of us and there are now so many other gigs, that we've now saturated it to the point where Braamfontein comedy, I can see the same lineup week in, week out. That is not sustainable. That is a good time if you want to do those gigs, but I should never look at a poster of a monthly gig and see 3 out of the 6 people on that lineup again. That tells me that now that we are going smaller and smaller, because that means we're not putting everybody on to the point where you're gonna get.
So that's why you're saying it's dying.
That's why I say it's dying. I should never
that's
ever.
very true.
I should never be able to go to a gig week after week and see the same people. Not the same jokes. I don't mind people doing the same jokes. I do same jokes all the time. But I should never be able to see the same people, because when I see the same people,
so you say it speaks to the quality of who's around.
No, not that it speaks to the quality. I think all the people that jump onto the stage, I find everybody funny, and I'll never judge someone's comedy other than if I don't like it. But I'll never stop them from doing comedy.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that if I see the same people Monday after Monday after Monday, or if I see them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and they're the same guys, and the lineups seldomly change, they change by 30% or 50%, that means we've already got this collection of guys that do this comedy thing.
Okay,
and now you're telling me that they are the only guys, and that there's no one else at their level or coming up that I can replace them week in, week out.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that if I go to a gig on a Monday, that those people that performed on the Monday should not be there the following Monday.
Yes, I hear you.
If we're all given the same class of comedy, I'm not saying like if your gig is like a Monday night where everybody does new material, then so be it. You can kind of have maybe the same lineup, but I should never look at a proper once a month gig and go,
a once a month. There's no excuse for that shit.
Or like even bi-week, like I should never go, man, why is this, unless it's run by that person and they're the one person.
They're the host, like the underground was.
Yeah, but I'm just like, we should never have that.
Yeah,
because it just makes the circle. You're trying to tell me that these are the only guys on at the moment.
Yeah,
so out of these 12 people that we keep on circulating, and
so you're saying the door's closed?
Yeah, for me, the door's closed.
The person who first put this on me is Kags had gone. Had gone on to, I think it was Morning Live or one of those programs, and they asked, what advice would you give to young guys who want to get into comedy? And Kak said, don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's over. The guys already, the guys who are in now, they're already in, and there's no more room for anybody. He literally said that. It was like, and the guy laughed and he's like, no, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Like, people are already,
yeah.
The spots have been taken.
Yes.
There's the gap is, the gap is closed.
Yeah.
And at first I was just like, geez, Kak, you're a little bit, that's a bit mean. But then I was like, you know what? I'm watching guys and I'm going, Tats and I were talking, and Tats was like, it's so weird. We were given this room by the guys before us. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and he said, I'm watching the younger guys, and I'm like, I don't know what to do for you as a guy who's done it before you. It's like,
but the thing
he's
is,
looking around and going,
have the obligation to do something
for sure. It's not, I don't think Kags and them, that generation ever physically did anything for us, but their work opened up a world.
Yes.
And our work is almost like we're jumping onto something too, and there's only so much room on it. So it's like, I
do have a solution though for it. The more we become, if we become lonely islands, so we become comfortable in the things that we do to keep our creativity going. I feel those are the things that make the waves ebb and flow. So like now you have this big wave and everybody's riding it. And then when there's a dip, not many people are riding this wave. And at the bottom of that dip, so people start doing other inventive things. So like, for example, they start, hey, let me do a podcast, or let me do a vlog, or let me start a YouTube channel.
Is this you now just going, and that's why I'm
this is the reason why it's Africa's 8th best podcast. You see, the thing is, once you start doing different things, but you still, because comedy is not just a stand-up
I've been saying that. No, I haven't been saying that. What I'm saying is that us comics aren't producing enough.
Yeah, 100%.
And not just one-man shows.
Yeah.
We don't create content online.
Yeah.
We should be the guys, like I watch something, sitcoms, and they're the worst things I've ever seen. And I hate to say it, but like, I have to say to go, guys, this is not the standard. And there's no comics writing on these things.
Yeah.
How? There are no comics with their own sitcom. How? You know what I mean?
I feel that is definitely the next change.
So we definitely have to start and there's enough examples to show that, guys, we can. Like when Don did his impersonation of
AKA and Skumba did Casper.
Yes, that was dope.
Huge
big. When he did the one with the so serious.
Was Heath Ledger in Batman.
It went big because we're the guys
that are meant to be doing that.
Exactly. We have the. It's a thing of taste. I forget, Kibuka gave me this quote where the guy talks about your taste will get you there. So we think of this in the same way we think of one-man shows, of these high level, high production. It takes you 10 years before you can do your first one. You know what I mean? And we think, okay, cool, I can't touch until. And I'm like, no, put shit out there.
Yeah.
But because you have good taste, your worst day is somebody's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know about social media.
What do you know?
Here's my thing.
Okay,
people made it without it before.
Yes.
So that's my thing.
Yeah, but you can't. It's too big now to not have.
Let me put it this way. I need to have it for a point.
Yeah.
Like I'm a bad tweeter. Is that what is it? Twitter? I'm a tweeter.
I guess so.
I'm a bad twitterer or whatever it is. I suck. I really try hard to put together a good tweet. And I suck at it. But I enjoy doing Instagram vids or Snapchats or whatever.
Well, then
so it has to be for a purpose.
Yeah,
so it's not just like be on social media.
Yeah.
So it's
well, that's what I use Instagram for. I literally use Instagram just to put long captions about the story of that gig I've just done. That is it.
Yeah.
I don't use it for anything else. And I think everybody you have to use social media in the way you want to use it to get the justification out. Don't just be on it.
Yes.
So no, you're right in that one. I just feel like if you are an artist, especially in our industry, not being on it just means there's a platform less that you can't promote on.
And the reason...
Ooh, that's horrible English. It's a platform less for you on promote on.
If you stop yourself, then it's okay. It's when you let it go. And
yeah.
Like, you thought that was okay.
Oh, you thought that English was fine.
No.
It's harder than that.
The reason why I do the whole post gigs and nobody cares work harder is because I think it's very important that like if you're looking at this to know what it actually is. Because we actually know that to be a doctor, it's 8 years. So before you go, I want to be a doctor, you go, but am I 8 years of studying?
Yeah. Am I capable? Yeah.
Yes. So when you go, I want to be a stand-up comedian, you have to go, yeah, but can you do a gig of 5 people for 3 years and that's your life?
Yeah, people can't, eh? People can't.
And so you have to show it. You gotta
but that's the reason why
this is what you gotta do.
Yeah, that's what exactly with Instagram, that's exactly what I do. I'll take a picture and I'll post it up and I'll be like, yo, this is the thing. You know, when there's no one there listening to you or the gig is going bad and you're dying, people think, here's a thing that really irritates me. It's like people make us believe that we're not allowed to die.
No, we're allowed to die.
Yes.
Yeah.
They give you those awkward looks like, oh, this guy isn't doing so good.
But also, I think it's more a comics thing. Comics just, oh, that guy died last night. Yeah, he's working.
Yeah.
It's not his, if you put on a shit show at your one-man show, then I can go, dude, why did you think that was a good show? Like, it's a bad show. Just, I don't care where you are, it's a bad show.
Yes.
And you should have worked harder towards it. Sure.
Yes.
But why, on some days you're going to get to gym and it's, all you can do is some curls and that's it. And you got to get out. That was that day. And I died last night. And you know what? That's just part of what I do.
Well, it's been great having you on this podcast.
It's been dope, man.
I don't want to have you on again at least for another year because
you don't want the door to
there's
be
other
closed.
people. There's just so many other people other than you. It's just like if people are listening, please thank you for listening, and secondly, please subscribe so one day I can make money off this thing and afford to I don't know, just pay rent or something like that. I don't know. But thank you for being on the podcast, Lo.
Thanks, man. This was dope. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Simmi Areff joins us in studio.
He knows more than you can imagine.
Is President Barack Obama a Muslim?
Because you know it's going to be a zoo.
It was already a zoo.
Did anything happen while I was gone? Haven't you noticed the whole place is on fire?
Let me tell you why you're here.
But they can only speak in question.
Are there side effects? Or?
Just diarrhea.
My first guess is...
Simmi.
Like who's there, this guy?
Lesser known somebodies.